Good afternoon from Blockspeak, our weekly podcast with the great, the good, and the not ugly figures of fintech, marketing, crypto, blockchain, or whoever we deign influential enough to join us. They're always the best. We had a great interview, record numbers last week with CZ from the Binance Exchange. So today we're joined by Bobby Lee, similarly influential. Who is a Bitcoin veteran, an ex-miner, and is now focusing on wallets. He's a fascinating man. So, and I hear you're in Vegas early in the morning. Is that right, Bobby?
Yes, indeed. Martin, thank you for having me. I'm here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada.
And what are you doing there? Are you living there, or are you there for something in particular, or isolating with your family?
Well, so I live in two locations. I in Shanghai in China and also Las Vegas. So Shanghai is where my family is, and then my headquarters in the U.S. is in Las Vegas. But since the coronavirus outbreak, I was stuck here in Las Vegas for the last 3-4 months. So I've been enjoying the weather and the location here.
It's the casinos, I believe, are open, right?
Yeah, they did. They were closed for a little over a month, and then they just reopened last week.
And is that something that you do yourself? Do you frequent such places of ill repute?
No, I don't. I do play some poker. Of course, conferences. A lot of conferences are in Las Vegas, so when the conferences happen, they're always in casinos. So I go to that.
I've never
go to casinos for that.
I've never been to CES. Strangely enough, I think I've been to every other show.
Yeah.
Would you go into a casino now?
So I haven't been in since.
But would you feel safe going in?
I guess, obviously wearing a face mask and so on.
Yeah.
But nothing is calling for me to go in right now.
I can't see any other global conference of any magnitude taking place before CES next year. I mean, I think that might be the beginning of the new normal. But I speak a lot of conferences. I've spoken at more than 200 events, probably a bit more actually. So I'm looking forward to opening up. I might have some money. You know what I mean? But enough of me. Bobby, tell us about you. I mean, you were an early Bitcoin coiner. Tell us about you. Let's hear about you.
Yeah, so I got into Bitcoin a little over 9 years ago in 2011. I was introduced to it through my brother, Charlie. And basically, he and I were both investors in gold. So we were sort of intrigued by the notion of a digital currency. And of course, at the time, the notion of decentralized just didn't make sense or didn't seem necessarily appealing. Like, why have a decentralized currency? Why shouldn't it be backed by something else? But then we realized that, for example, gold is not backed by anything, and yet it's valuable because it's valuable for its properties. So over some time, we realized that Bitcoin can be very valuable through its properties of it being inherently digital, being decentralized, blockchain, and so on and so forth. So we were early investors and have been fortunate for that.
Did you move straight out of gold into Bitcoin, or did you kind of
No, just added more to our investments. So I mean, it's not like I had huge holdings of gold anyways. So I was just collecting gold coins. I still buy gold every year, so I buy more gold every year, and then of course investing. Of course, Bitcoin has vastly outperformed gold in the last 9 years.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happened next?
So I promised myself one day if I ever did a startup, this is in 2011, right?
Right.
That if I ever did a startup, I should do it in Bitcoin. And then of course, a little over 2 years went by, a little less than 2 years. And then after I left my job at Walmart e-commerce in China, I decided to do a startup and to do it in Bitcoin. So that's when I partnered up with my two co-founders and launched BTC China as the very first Bitcoin exchange in China.
Oh,
so
my God.
Yeah, this is quite early in history.
Wow. And so I'm still. So you're in Vegas. You're in Shanghai.
I was in China.
Yeah, we'll come. We'll come to that. So BTC China. How long did that go on for? It went on for 3 or 4 years.
So I ran it as CEO, as co-founder CEO from 2013 to 2018. So we sold the company in early 2018, and by then we had already renamed to BTCC. So today people know it as BTCC, and we've also diversified into not just to an exchange, but we had online custodial wallets, we had mining pool, we had physical Bitcoins. We launched a bunch of stuff over the 5 years.
Are you still involved then, or are you out?
No, I left the company. So I sold it and left the management team. The new owners took over. They're based in Hong Kong. Yeah. So they're gonna, bring it international and so on.
Yeah. And how's it going? How's it going since you left? Is it going well?
To be honest, I haven't followed it too closely. So I took a year off in 2018 after I sold the company. I did a lot of speaking tours, conferences, trying to get started writing a book about Bitcoin. And that takes a long time. And then early last year, early 2019, that's when I finally started on my second startup, which is Ballet. So over the last 3-4 years, I've been thinking about how to make Bitcoin more approachable, make it easy for new people. I've been constantly trying to think of technologies and methods to make it easier. Yeah. And finally, at the end of 2018, after my year off, I got together with my ex-coworkers, and we decided that we have a good idea to launch a new wallet company.
So that physical, yeah. So that year, I mean, the last financial crisis in 2008. My wife and 5-year-old son, who was 5, was now 17, and he's taller than me. We went to live on the beach in India just to get away from it all. So we were there for 2 years. It's quite a long story, but I was consulting. I was quite big in the mobile world for Nokia and Liverpool FC, and we did Iron Man 2. We got that across operators for Universal. I suppose it was Universal. Yeah, Paramount. So I know what it's like to take some time off. And those 2 years, even though a lot of things happened, it is extraordinary how different your mind works, right? You know what I mean? When the daily pressure is off, I was working for a mobile games company. We famously failed Angry Birds. I thought I just spent 2 years bumming around, traveling around India. But what really happened was that I did learn how to think properly. You know what I mean? I managed to get some clarity, and what I thought was a 2-year kind of cop-out from the financial crisis turned out to be quite a seminal event in my life. Was that the same for you over that 12 months?
Well, it went by really fast. Yeah. So it wasn't a full 12 months. It was more like 10, 11 months. So I went by really fast, traveled a lot. That year I traveled to dozens of countries. Yeah. Well, it felt maybe not exactly, but it felt like a lot of travel, a lot of trips abroad, speaking engagements, meeting people. And so I could have retired, but I'm quite young, didn't want to just really retire and sit home, do nothing. And I'm still quite involved in the crypto industry, quite influential. And it intrigued me that the wallet custody storage solution, that the wallet custody problem has not been solved. It's sort of been solved for the sort of elite, the educated, the early adopters. We all know how to use wallets. We all have multiple different solutions, online services, hardware wallets, stuff like that. But for the mass market, I was born in the Ivory Coast in West Africa. So if you look at emerging countries, developing countries, Bitcoin is not nearly where it should be, right? Bitcoin, people around the world have now heard of it, but I would say only 10 million people own Bitcoin. So how do you get from 10 million to 100 million and then to 1 billion people? I mean, the world is like, 7-8 billion people. So how do we get to the first billion people? So that's a huge challenge that I think, there are a lot of, again, there are a lot of great solutions by wallet providers today, software, mobile, hardware wallets. But I think that they're missing a piece, which is to address the really novice new users. And that's the market that we're focused after.
No, I think that is actually an act of great goodness, because we spoke earlier. I think everybody who listens to this podcast knows that I got hacked from my Ether a couple of years ago, and that was a lot to do with I was slightly smug, thought I was clever, and then when this did happen to me, and I wrote a piece for the BBC, I was just ripped apart. I mean, the piece was basically like, I'm an idiot. This is what I did wrong. And I got a load of grief from people saying, oh, you're an idiot. Well, the whole point was an idiot. You fucking idiot. Anyway, I calmed down.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah.
No, well, shit happens, right? So anyway, so I realised that I'd been quite stupid and complacent, and then I was obviously told what I should have done. The difference between a hard wallet and a soft wallet, and all of that stuff. So I don't think, particularly in the common populace or the non-Bitcoin owning population, that people are any closer in the last couple of years to understanding how it's happened. They've been terrified by the fall in the price.
Yep.
Most of them probably don't know that it's, I don't know what it is today, but it's up kind of tootling around the kind of $10,000 mark, right? So they've all probably been a bit scared off, as I was when I was hacked. What have you come up with, or what is the piece that's missing that you allegedly are going to be able to fill? Please chill away just for once.
Yeah, so the problem we're trying to solve is today's wallet solutions, everything from software wallets, on a computer, on a PC, to mobile phone, to hardware wallets. Let me take a step back. What's a wallet? What's a cryptocurrency wallet? A Bitcoin wallet is essentially a keychain, right? Essentially, it's a software-hardware combination that stores your private keys, because in the end, cryptocurrency is held by private keys, and private keys are purely digital. What is a private key? It's not something physical. It's a string of numbers. If you think of binary, it's just ones and zeros. Or if you think of alphabet, it's letters, 0 to 9, A through Z, uppercase, lowercase. But however you call it, it's a string of long numbers, and that is your unique private key. And because it's so long, the combinations are so extreme, no two people share the same private key. And most people would use software tools to help them generate the private keys using what they call entropy, which is like randomness. Okay.
Entropy, so interesting.
Yeah, entropy is a notion of randomness. Yeah. Basically, the idea is that I would use my software or hardware tools to generate. They would generate the private key for me. I might have one private key, I might have a dozen or hundreds of private keys, but they will never match yours because just a sheer number of possibilities out there. So wallet is really just a software that contains the list of my private keys, and your wallet contains your private keys.
Okay.
So in the end, it's just digital information. It's just information, much like email, much like digital photographs on your mobile phone or on your computer with a digital camera. So it's just a digital information. But the key thing is you don't want that file to be stolen by hackers. You don't want that to be seen by anyone else. You only want to have access to it yourself. So that's the gist of it.
So a UBS stick with my
USB
stick, with my hard, sorry, a UBS stick with my private key on it.
USB stick.
USB, sorry, excuse me. Yeah. Thank you very much. You've worked out who you're talking to here.
Well, because UBS is the bank, right?
Yeah, I know.
You don't want to be using that bank. Yeah.
Right, okay. That particular stick, so I don't forget again. Is that a hard wallet?
It's a USB stick. If it's a vanilla USB stick if you buy from Amazon, just like a storage device, and you put in a wallet file. It's just a storage. It's not technically a wallet yet, because wallet generally has more functionality, has more protection for the security, and so on and so forth.
Very interesting.
You could, if you sort of wink a little bit, you could call it a wallet. There's a notion of a paper wallet where you just write down the private key on a piece of paper. Either you write it down or print it out. In some sense, that's also a wallet, but doesn't have any sort of rich functionality.
Yeah.
But the whole point is, regardless of how you store the information, in the end, it's all information, right? That's the whole point of digital currency. It's all information. So it could be in your head. They call it brain wallet. If you memorize it, it could be called a brain wallet. If it's on a piece of paper, it's a paper wallet. If it's on a piece of steel, it's a steel wallet. If it's in the USB disk, they have, whatever. There's different variations of wallets. But my whole point is that the wallets out there, some of them are great, by the way. Some of them are very secure, made for experts, excellent, long reputation for being secure and well. The problem is they're all too hard to use.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've used dozens of wallet solutions myself, from computer software based to mobile phones to hardware, even paper wallets, physical Bitcoins. And what I've realized is, for normal people, what I mean by normal people is just regular people, either high school educated, college educated, just people who don't have 2 degrees of computer science from Stanford University or MIT, right? So normal people find it very hard to use the existing wallets because there's so much procedure, there's a lot of setup process. Or the alternative is to use a custodial exchange solution where you actually custody your Bitcoins with a service provider, whether it's an exchange or a wallet service provider. In that case, you have to open an account. You have to register an account, username, password, SMS verification, email confirmation, all that crazy stuff. So, by the way, I've done that. I've been on the other side. My company, BTC China, BTCC, we launched 2 separate custodial wallet services. The first was called Picasso. That was in 2014. The second was called Mobi. That was launched in 2016. So I've done my share of launching wallets.
Credentials are accepted. Okay, so
it's just a lot of that experience tells me that it's the existing solutions are too hard for normal people.
Yeah, well, I think the brain wallet I could probably do. Was it 40 characters? I could probably do that with like a few days practicing.
But the problem is human memory is fallible.
Yeah.
As much as we think, we have good memory, but the reality is if you give it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, we might forget some of the old passwords we've used. We might forget some of the things, right?
I cannot tell you as a slightly older man that I had memorized in my head any time, probably about 50 telephone numbers of people that I knew when I was younger. And that kind of dovetails a little bit with mobile cell phone numbers when they first came out, right? Now I remember my wife's, a guy called Noel Manus, is one of my best mates, and my own number. And then I just panicked last night for some reason. I don't even know my kid's number. It's in my phone.
You don't remember anymore.
That just shows, that absolutely illustrates your point.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because our memory is just organic. Our brain is just organic, it's not even electrical. It's just electrical signals, chemical reaction, right?
Absolutely.
And that sort of goes bad over time, unfortunately.
So you've got something to save us from our brains.
Oh, yeah. So the solution is we're going back to the solution for Ballet is actually go back to the basics, okay? Go back to the concept of a paper wallet where we generate essentially the entropy for the private key, do it offline. But instead of having people do it themselves, the whole DIY movement, right? Yeah. Where people make their own crafts and stuff like that.
But makers.
Makers market. Yeah. You could make your own paper wallet, they have a lot of good open source software out there that's well vetted. And then you essentially you have your own printer. If it's an inkjet, laserjet, laser printer, and you print it out and you fold it and you might even laminate it and you could use it or you could give it to your parents or give it to your children and you could store Bitcoin on there. And it's very secure because it's offline. Well, the idea is that it should be very secure. It should be offline, right? So you don't want to store it, hold on to the file electronically on your computer. Yeah. But once it's offline, then there's no electronic hacking. There's no one can hack it remotely. That's a key thing, right? I know you experienced firsthand.
But what if you want to go into an exchange and take some money out? Don't you have to use?
Oh yeah. So once your coins are stored on a paper wallet and you want to then move the coins to an exchange, you have to then use another piece of software to sort of decode the private key and then check the blockchain for the amount and then use that software to sign a transaction to move your coins onto the exchange deposit account using your private keys of the paper wallet. So that's a more cumbersome process. And by the way,
that's also immutable because you can't redact a blockchain transaction, right?
Correct. Once you broadcast on the blockchain, once it's confirmed, then it's part of the permanent blockchain record.
I get the feeling that my audience probably know a little bit more about this than I do, but I'm just saying this in case we have a lot of new viewers. Yeah. Okay, right. So I think we're up to speed. Now what?
So if I may, should I show it?
Yes, please. By all means.
This is it. This is a Ballet wallet. This is our paper wallet. This is our paper wallet sort of derivative.
Okay.
It is actually not made of paper. It's actually made of stainless steel. So it's the size of a credit card. It's made of stainless steel. So if I take two, it's nice and thick, over 1 millimeter thick, and about quite hefty. It has this weight to it.
It feels like something. It's textural.
Yeah. Do you have one, Monty?
I have a test one here. Yes, look.
Yeah. So basically,
no commercial relationship, by the way, viewers. No commercial relationship.
That's right. So what I want to tell people is Well, what I forgot to tell people is what's interesting about this wallet. There's a huge design principle when I designed and created this concept, which is I wanted to create a wallet that had no setup.
Right.
Think about what I said there. No setup. Okay. First of all, it has to be a true wallet where the users have custody of their private keys. They have exclusive control of their private keys. You know the notion. You've heard of the phrase "not your keys, not your Bitcoin."
Yeah.
Right? So we want our users, and this is very core to my philosophy, I want all my users and all my friends to self-custody their Bitcoins. So it has to be something that they can have the private keys to. Yet at the same time, I want to create something where there's no setup, because setting things up is too hard and too complicated for normal people. There's a notion of, you've done this yourself, I'm sure, where you have to back up the so-called recovery seed, something between 12, 18, or 24 words you have to write down. And then where do you store those, right? So backing up is a huge process. You have to write down these 24 words, and then where do you put it safely? Do you put it on an online Google Drive, or do you leave it on a piece of paper? Do you put it in your drawer, or do you put it in a safe deposit box? Do you laminate it? Do you etch it onto steel? I mean, or do you memorize it, right? So there's all these options to store the backup recovery seed. All the options are fatally flawed, in my opinion.
Okay. So talk me through the kind of user experience from this point then.
So, what's the question?
The user experience. Yeah. So I have this, you have that.
Oh yeah. So with this,
what happens?
With this, there's no setup process. You literally take it out of the box and it's ready to use.
Okay.
It's ready to use, and this is it's an industry first wallet where it's ready to use out of the box. There's no setup. There's no complicated mathematics. There's no complicated cryptography. There's no computer science jiggery here. There's no expert. You don't need any skills. All you have it right here. It's ready to use. In fact, if you look at my wallet, there's a QR code. That QR code is your Bitcoin deposit account address.
I see.
That's it. It's ready to go.
So how do I use it? Sorry to be.
To use it. So for normal people, again, this is for novice people. Okay, this is meant for new users. Okay.
Yeah.
So not for. I mean, Monty, even though you may think yourself as a sort of casual user, you're no longer the novice, right? You already experienced, right?
But believe me, I'm a lot smarter than you think. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know how many PhDs and degrees you have, but the point is, I don't care your education level, but this is for novice users, for people who own Bitcoin or Ethereum or cryptocurrency for the first time in their lives.
And this is their first step. So that QR code is their own personal code that's been sent to them as part of the product.
Yes.
And that's their
Bitcoin account.
No one else could get into that wallet.
Yep, correct. So first of all, it's unique. No one else in the world has the same address, same account number. And secondly, this person, whoever holds this wallet, whoever purchases it, buys it, will have full exclusive control of their private key. And the private keys on this, and I can explain more. It's actually a non-electronic device.
Explain that to me, how their private key is on that.
Okay, so what we do is on here, so first of all, this is non-electronic. Okay, so so people have credit cards these days. People know about a lot of credit cards have a magnetic stripe. That's from the 1970s, 1980s, and the newer credit cards have an electronic chip on here, like a pin and chip thing. Some even have fancy things like NFC where you tap to pay. Okay, so this has nothing.
Right.
This card is stainless steel, has none of those things. No electronics, no magnets, because magnets can get demagnetized.
Yeah.
Chips can fail. If you have NFC chips, it can be hacked, wireless signals and stuff like that. So there's no hacking whatsoever.
Okay.
All the information on here is visual only. It's what I call a vision-based wallet. What happens is this. Okay, what happens is there is hold on. Let me see if I have.
I truly am fascinated by this.
Yeah. So basically, you could peel off the sticker on top here. It's a tamper evidence sticker. You peel it off, and then what happens after you peel it off becomes like this. There's in the back behind the sticker. There's a yellow piece here that shows the price. Okay, this is. So I don't mind.
So there's the private key underneath the QR code.
Yeah, it's actually an encrypted private key. So this is actually one of two components. So our on our wallet, the true private key is what they call, some people don't understand. It's called two-factor private key, or what they call multi-sig. You kind of need two keys. It's kind of like if you go to the bank deposit safe box, you need two keys to open the safe.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is one of the two keys, and the second two keys on the bottom on the scratch off. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you scratch it off here, I have another one. So normally it looks like this.
Yeah, got it.
Okay.
So it's that scratch. It's kind of
like a lottery ticket. But once you scratch it off, it will reveal the passphrase.
Yeah.
It's a very long string of random numbers, and that passphrase is also the second key.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you think about, you need both. You need both the yellow part, the QR code, and also the passphrase. By the way, what's on the yellow QR code is actually printed nicely in 3 rows of text. Okay, it's human readable.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to make this truly human machine proof, right? So in the sense that it'll stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything's human readable, machine, very easy to use, and that's the concept.
And how much are they, sir?
How about what?
How much do they cost?
So it's affordable. It sells in the US for $35.
Wow, I was thinking a bit more than that.
Yeah. We're trying to make it very affordable. Just $35.
So this would be going to the novice. It would be going to the novice to someone who hadn't yet invested in Bitcoin, but were going to. So if they have previously got, say, $50,000 worth of, let's say, a mixture of Ethereum and Bitcoin, presumably it's all cryptocurrencies, right? How does that help? If they've already got a private key, that's different. Then they can't put their money onto this.
Oh, they can. If you already own Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever crypto, you might have stored it on an exchange like Coinbase, Bitstamp, Kraken, or you might have it stored on another wallet, right? And we welcome all users. It's just that the whole point is we target.
But how do you do that?
How do you move it? The way to do it is every wallet and every wallet service provider allows you to send the funds to somewhere else.
Right.
So your existing wallet, whether it's a software wallet, mobile wallet, you can send it to someone else. So what you do is you send it to this wallet. And the way you send it to this wallet is the address is on here on the bottom.
So that's the public key at the bottom.
Not technically, it's not the public key, but it's a public address.
Public address. Okay. Now I've got it.
Yeah. That's a public address, and we have it both. Again, we have it both in human readable form on the bottom and also in QR form on the top.
I've got it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just scan it with a machine, mobile phone, whatever computer, and then you can send it there. Or you can copy and paste. You can just type it in. Yeah. And we have a mobile app to allow you to copy and paste it easily.
Wow. And I mean, $35 seems like a very sensible price to me. Do you have an idea of? I mean, when did you sell the first one?
We launched our company early last year. We're in research and development, prototyping everything. We revealed the product in September, and we started shipping in late October, November. So about 6 months ago.
How many have you sold, if you don't mind me asking?
We sold a lot, but we haven't shared the financials publicly.
Have you sold as many as you thought you would?
Yes, indeed. It's been very popular. We're now the bottleneck is in manufacturing. We're trying to ramp up manufacturing because we're already selling many different channels besides our online web store at balletcrypto.com. We have it for sale on Amazon US, Canada, Europe.
Right. Okay.
More markets. Yeah. So it's been quite popular.
So interesting. I'm interested in your branding history. You've called your products Picasso, Moby, and Ballet. Is there anything connected?
Nothing connected.
Are you sure?
Yeah, nothing connected between these two names. But Ballet is sort of a few things, right? Some people make a joke. This is Bobby's wallet, or Ballet, or Bitcoin wallet. But the more appropriate one. I mean, this is sort of reverse acronym, but it's really a bearer asset.
Yes.
Okay, you've heard of the term bearer asset. A bearer asset.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah. What is a bearer asset? A bearer asset is something physical. I'll have some examples. The classic bearer asset is this, right? This is money, meaning that whoever has possession of this US dollar $100 note is the owner.
Yeah.
Right. This is not titled. It is not registered anywhere. I know there's a serial number, but this is not registered anywhere. So unlike real estate, for example, real estate is not a bearer asset. A car is not a bearer asset. Because a car in real estate, they have title. The law says the car is owned by the owner of the car who has title to the car, whether it's the leasing company, the financial company, or the person who has paid for the car. Right. So just because you have keys to an apartment, to a house, doesn't mean you own the house.
Yeah, I mean,
just because the car keys.
I've got an English £5 note.
That's a bearer asset.
But I don't know if it's worth anything at the moment. The way that we're going
exactly.
with our handling of the economy.
Yeah, this is paper money, not very good. But gold, for example, is a bearer asset. When you hold the gold, that's a bearer asset.
Yeah, okay.
So stocks and bonds, generally speaking, are not. But in the old days, they were. Some stock certificates, some bonds were bearer assets. They say like this bond is payable to the bearer on demand.
Yeah.
So you can cash it. These are called bearer bonds. You've seen these in movies, right? Some stocks are bearer stocks. The point is, this wallet, if you load Bitcoin on here, whoever has access to it is the owner, because all they need to do is scratch it off, peel it off. They can send the coins anywhere they want.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So the benefit makes it really easy for gifting. Yeah.
I might give it a go, actually. We might even get some listeners of this podcast to send me some Bitcoin for all the free content that you've received for the last 3 months.
Yes, indeed.
I once was a motorcycle courier in London, driving before the days of Deliveroo when it was real danger money. And I lost some bonds once. You know, they just flew off the back. Oh, man.
Oh, no. These are bearer bonds.
Yeah, they flew off the back of the bike. And I didn't give a shit, really. But the people who kind of... we had about 25 motorbike riders and about 20 push bike riders all going down the embankment of the Thames trying to find them. They found them in the end.
Oh, they found them all. Okay.
Yeah.
So you lose it, you lose it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So we picked the name Ballet because it's also female, feminine friendly. Because to this day, all the names of wallets and whatever services in Bitcoin, they're too geeky, right? I'm a geek. I'm a computer nerd, but they're too male focused for men and stuff like that. So I want something that's more approachable, something that's more universally recognizable. So we picked the name Ballet. We think it's very suitable.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the Ballet, actually. Okay, listen. So that's very interesting. I think people have got the message. $35 on all major platforms now. I wish you well with it. Let's try and bring things back towards the end. I'm just going to tell you a couple of stories that I read this week. The one that I'm reading now is that we all know that New Zealand is the world leader at the moment because of the way that it's got rid of the virus.
Yes.
New Zealanders can now buy cans of Coke from vending machines using Bitcoin. Did you know?
I didn't know that, but this is not surprising. That's great.
A deal between Auckland startup Centropay, local virtual wallet company Silo, that's SYLO, and Coca-Cola Amatil. That's quite interesting.
Yes.
I've told you something you didn't know, Bobby. That makes me very happy.
Yes.
Obviously, a very well-versed man in this field. How do you see things at the moment in the whole Bitcoin world? You think we're going to get through the $10,000 and go up to happy land?
Oh, definitely. It's a matter of when. It's not a matter of if. It's absolutely. It's funny. I would tweet about the price predictions about Bitcoin. I recently offered to give out a free Tesla Cybertruck to people who follow me on Twitter. And the idea was if Bitcoin passed $40,000, $39,900 by end of next year, I'll give out a free Tesla Cybertruck to a lucky follower.
I quite like those trucks, actually.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I have several on reservation. When Elon Musk announced it last November, I was there at the unveiling ceremony. And I immediately ordered one. But the system was clogged, so I thought the order didn't go through. I ordered again, and I end up having 4 orders of the Cybertruck. So
I think that'd be a bear asset if ever there was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So, but the point is that when I make these predictions that Bitcoin will exceed $40,000 by end of next year, which is 18 months away. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, I'm full confident. I'm fully confident. I have to give away that Tesla Cybertruck. But to me, many people actually think that Bitcoin will never pass $10,000 again, and I think that it's very, very short-sighted.
To be fair, most people on this show, actually, you've only had one woman on the show. That's terrible.
Yeah, you gotta
I
have
didn't
more.
realise. Yeah, no, that's terrible. Oh my god. I think everyone has said that it's. I mean, there's been some very kind of conservative estimates, like 12,000 at the end of 2021 and all that stuff. But 40,000, I don't suppose you'd mind giving away a Tesla truck if you've got a big holding in Bitcoin. If you've got 4 extra money, you could probably give them 100 fucking trucks, couldn't you? No, interesting. All right. Any advice to our audience? What do you think they should be doing in the next few months? Do you think that they should be getting out of the dollar and moving into Bitcoin? Just give us some takeaway advice. I've enjoyed talking to you, and I know Americans don't like, or Chinese Americans, or Americans don't like swearing. So apologies for saying fuck.
No worries. So basically, I also talked about recently on Twitter. I just sent out a message like, why is the stock market going up like crazy when the economy is in ruins? Right? I just read an article like the economy's globally is in ruins. There's unemployment, jobless, and just business revenues are down. But why is the stock market going up?
Because
why is the real estate market going up?
But it predicts the future, doesn't it? It predicts the future about 18 months in advance.
Yes, it does predict the future, but it's something more fundamental than that. Okay, as a kid, when I was a young child, we would have these birthday parties. My parents and all my classmates. And one of the games that was very popular when I was growing up was called a game called musical chairs.
Yeah.
You've heard of that game? You played it. Yeah. So the idea is that when the music stops, there's always one fewer chair than their number of people walking around, dancing around. And when the music stops, everybody trying to sit on a chair, and inevitably one chair has a pile of people on it because there are fewer chairs than their number of people.
Yep.
Right. So it's not that the chairs are more valuable. It's just that the game is structured so that there's always more people than there are chairs.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point is that what's happening now is the amount of assets in the real world is actually finite. If it's real estate, if it's stocks, if it's gold, it's all finite. But the money supply has been increasing. I don't want to call it exponentially, but has been increasing nonstop.
I agree. Totally agree.
So in the last 2 months, countries around the world, the US, the EU, China, they've all been printing more money and stimulating the economy. So there's more money out there. It's going to lead to inflation. And the first thing that happens is not the price of apples and bananas in the supermarket, but the first thing that goes up is stock and real estate.
Yeah.
Because that's where the hot money can flow to.
Yeah.
So when you see the stock market rise, don't think it's because the companies will have better earnings. Don't think because of the real estate is inherently worth more. There's more rooms or more square footage and square meters in the house. It's not. It's because money doesn't know where to go, so they just pile it into things they're familiar with. Stocks.
Yeah, no, that's bonds. That's a very good. It's actually quite strange. It's a very good point, and it's a strange point, especially with the real estate or property, as we call it.
Yeah.
In the UK, is that I live 5 miles from the sea, 45 miles from London, half a mile from a national park, 20-minute drive to Gatwick. There's a great little kind of, I wouldn't call it Vegas, but like a kind of faux Vancouver, San Francisco town called Brighton and all that stuff, right? So when there's all the panic about, oh Christ, got to pay the school fees, property prices are going to go down. It's been exactly the opposite, because now 1 or 2 bedroom flats in London are falling off a cliff because these are the unhappy, the single people stuck on their own. I don't want to be like, smug, but I mean, I've been working from home for 12 years, man. You know what I mean? It was not difficult.
Yeah.
To work it out. And then places like this with great broadband, we haven't had a single hiccup in our connection. And of all of those things being on my doorstep, this is probably quite a good thing for me that this house with a big garden will be a place where people will work from home and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's one of those really weird things that I've always wanted to have a flat, like not like a shit flat, like a really nice flat in London, thinking, God, there's no chance I'll do that unless I keep doing more of these podcasts for free. Ha ha.
Yeah.
It might be a possibility for me. So the way I've said this before, my vision of money is that there is an airship that goes around the world, and as long as you're underneath the airship shadow, you're fine. Whether it's fintech or cybersecurity or whatever it is. Bobby, I have absolutely genuinely enjoyed this conversation. You're a great raconteur. You're a fascinating individual. You're clearly successful. You seem to be doing a service for the young coronial kryptonites, or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, you're doing something for the coronial kryptons.
Yes.
Colonial cryptos, there you go. We might rename the broadcast. I'd like to keep you online after we go off air, just to say thank you personally.
Sure.
But to everybody listening, I think Bobby's ballet products, even though I have one but I have yet to use it, this was basically a tutorial for me personally to see how to use it, and he's managed to share it with you as well.
Yeah.
I've really
so Monty, before you go offline,
go for it.
You should scratch the QR code. Take the one. Do you have one in front of you?
I do.
Scratch the QR code with your fingernail. Just scratch the top of it.
Yeah.
And smell it. Smell it.
Oh, it's a nice smell.
Yeah. So we actually have a very special feature where you have a fragrance on it. It's like a scratch and smells fragrance on it for anti-counterfeiting.
Scratch and sniff. Excellent.
Yes, scratch and sniff. That's right.
I think I once bought a scratch and sniff record sleeve by the Rolling Stones, I think.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. Hey, listen, we could talk all day, right? But thank you very much. This is Blockspeak signing off. We'll probably publish this later this week. That'll be by the 15th of June. Blockspeak.io on all platforms, Apple, blah, blah, blah. Thank you very much. Thanks again, Bobby, and see you next week. Thank you very much. Bye.